It would not be silly to say we are faced with a huge problem in our society right now. We have access to more information now than ever before, but we are more polarized than ever before. We are at each other's throats. People think half of the country is ideologically possessed. There's resentment, there's hatred, and there doesn't seem to be, many people trying to bridge the divide between these different views. As rational but also emotional creatures, it's easy for us to try to remain comfortable, to not rock the boat, to stay inside our little bubble, not challenge our beliefs. But you might argue the technologies that we're using today and how we're using them is actively making society worse, and it's driving us further apart. You might think that the way people are using social media, TikTok, Instagram, X, Reddit, all those different things, it's just increasing the resentment and the polarization and the conflict and the suffering, making people weaker, more stupid, more uncaring, less compassionate. So, if this is the situation that we're in, what are we supposed to do? Do you think things are magically going to get better on their own, and we're all going to sing Kumbaya and hold hands in a circle? It seems like we're heading in the opposite direction. Now that we have artificial intelligence, you might think that there's the potential for a solution here. Well, if humans are abusing their own freedom of speech and sharing of information, why don't we just give the reins to these technologies that we're developing so that they can filter the information for us, so that they can record it, so that they can tell us what's true? Well, obviously, I think a lot of people would have qualms with that because that is scary, and it could go very badly. So, a number of questions arise. Are these technologies that we're using good for us? Are they good for us? Can we be confident that the information we're consuming, which is personalized for you on each one of your feeds, are you confident that it is true and reliable and complete? Given that we seem to care more about entertainment than truth in society today, what exactly is going to happen to us? Where are things going to head? And if it looks like things are just getting worse, people are getting more stupid, more ideologically possessed, less compassionate, should we censor information? Should we take these technologies away from people? Should we impose limits or bans on what can be said and what can be shared? These are the questions that the video is prompting us to reflect on. And that is what I would like to talk with you about for the remainder of this half of class. The AI's argument is as follows. In the past, information was curated and filtered before being passed on by academics, government, clergy, these other institutions, and by people in authority. But in our age today, we're just accumulating more and more useless and trivial and false and incorrect information, and we're consuming it. This is happening at an alarming rate. The accumulation of such useless information, like baseless rumors, slanders, whatever the National Enquirer is putting out nowadays, all that crap in the tabloids. It's being driven by us. We're contributing to this. We're doing this ourselves when we share a news story on Instagram that we didn't actually look into and contains false information. Our use of these technologies is preventing social progress, and it's actively making things worse and driving us further apart. Normal people like us, we're biased. We make mistakes. But more than that, we're either unwilling or we're incapable of figuring out what is actually true and presenting that and sharing only that, which is leading to more resentment and conflict and polarization and our country being driven apart. But you might think AI would be capable of doing all that for us, figuring out what is true, sifting through the sea of useless crap that we upload every day and post. Maybe they can create context for us, present the truth, record it, make sure later generations see what's actually going on. Therefore, information should be censored and controlled by artificial intelligence. Because clearly, we don't have the knowledge or skills to do this ourselves. This might be the only way that, we can maintain our society and prevent it from collapse or civil war. Given that we have these technologies now and people are researching them and working on them, this is a potential solution. Obviously, it would conflict with our freedoms and rights that we think we have in this country, though. So, now that you've been faced with this problem, for which we have no constructive solution, for which it seems things are just getting worse, people are being driven further apart, people are consuming more and more false information, what are we to do? What are we to do? And if we do nothing, what is going to happen? What can we do? What do y'all think? Yeah.
AI is good stuff.
AI is good stuff. Okay, so you like the AI's argument. You think it might be true?
I like AI right now.
You like it right now, okay. But maybe it might turn bad in the future?
Yeah.
Okay, so we shouldn't give AI the reins over the flow of information? Yeah.
AI makes mistakes too.
AI makes mistakes. It says dumb stuff all the time, right? Hallucinates. Right now. But it wouldn't be crazy to think in the foreseeable future it could do all this stuff better than us. Yeah? Ava?
I feel like it's sort of limited in what it can do because we are humans that program the AI.
Yes.
And so its knowledge is only based on our knowledge and understanding.
Right now,
Right now.
you might think.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think now it's being, even at the level it is at right now, it's being used by people.
It's being abused. How so?
Have you ever heard of AI psychosis?
Yes.
Exactly.
I have a colleague who's doing research into that.
That's not normal.
AI psychosis. Okay, so it's driving some people into, a bad place.
That sort of madness, yes.
A sort of madness. Okay. So you don't think we should give AI the reins?
God, no. Have we seen iRobot or like Minority Report or any other movie?
I have. I don't know if anybody else here has.
Well, point being,
Yeah, you're thinking, I don't know, that could be really bad, right? Yeah, fair, okay. Fred?
I think
kind of is biased.
Okay.
It learns the majority of you. It still learns the majority of you, and form their answers according to that. They conform to the majority opinion, and majority opinion does not necessarily mean it is true
Mm-hmm.
at all. For the solution, I think context-less supercomputer model should be the one that dictates what is true or not.
So supercomputers, like more advanced, better AI in the future.
Like traditional supercomputer models, they're only capable of calculation and data processing.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So you think it might be wise to give those technologies control over our information?
I think it should have control the information in the sense we think, but I think it should be like provided as a form of service to people who want to do fact check and stuff.
Okay. Okay. So the technologies that we have or could in principle develop could help us out with this problem, perhaps. Sage?
I feel like it doesn't have to censor, it could just like not create context but add context, so it could add warnings to saying like this is a potential bias or something like that. Like it doesn't have to control what we receive, but it can tell us more information about what we're receiving.
Okay, so provide us with more information. Okay. Do you feel comfortable giving these technologies, I don't know, that place in our society?
I think regardless, it's gonna have it exists, so it's gonna have some place in our society. And I
Okay.
think we have to figure out what things involved.
Okay. Yeah, what do the rest of y'all think here? Yeah.
I feel like AI shouldn't be incorporated into this because AI has to be programmed by someone, and it's going to have to be an Israeli company.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure it's not going to run for this knowledge that Elon has with AI. It was probably one that the views that he used to believe because unlike AI.
Sure, yeah.
Sifting through it, censoring out things that a certain company doesn't believe in their political views, and it could cause more censorship in the media than what has been there before.
And you think that would be bad?
Yeah.
Because, look, you might say the technologies are biased right now. They're not going to give us an objective, complete view. But also, like, no, we don't want these technologies to censor the information we get. Then we wouldn't be able to verify it, right? Or it could give us a false view, or it could make things worse. So you're a little hesitant of giving these technologies the control. You think that could lead us to a bad place? Well, what the hell are we going to do about this, guys? Wait till someone else fixes it? Like who? The government? Do you trust the government? Maybe we should allow corporations to fix it. Do you guys trust corporations? This is a serious issue, right? And insofar as we use social media and spread false information, we're contributing to it. How confident are you really that you know what's happening in the world, what headlines are true, which studies can be trusted? Yeah.
Well, I kind of think, while it is a significant issue, I don't think it's that much worse today than it was in the past. I mean,
Okay.
I think there was already a lot of junk information and junk news coming out 50 years ago, 100 years ago, even, in ancient days. And, in a way today, the fact that we can kind of go online and we can really see a lot of different views While there's a lot more out there that we can access, and it can make it confusing, I think that if you are willing to take the time to look into things and sift through things, today you probably have a better chance of getting to an objective truth on something happening even 1,000 miles away than you did in previous years. You know, I think it's
Okay.
easier if you're willing to put the effort into it. It's more possible.
I would agree with you that it's more possible in some sense, right? Because again, we have things like Google, we have these search engines, right? We have access to all these books, all these libraries. If we actually sat down and perhaps diligently did our research, yeah, we could come to the truth, right? Probably.
But people aren't going to do that. People are too lazy.
This is the question, right? Is the average person actually going to do the diligent research whenever they read a headline? Are they actually going to do the investigation before they share that video that apparently shows this heinous, terrible thing the government did on TikTok? Are they going to look into it before they share it? I don't know. Yeah.
I think it's unfortunate that AI was materialized into large language models such as ChatGPT and Claude. At the same time that social media is on, like is happening too, right? Because
Okay, why?
he said there that if you you can get to more objective truths and conclusions using AI, and that's for sure. But at the same time, people aren't reading. People aren't really having time to think. They're always onto something either online or mostly online, right? Which again, it's unfortunate because I think the combination of our society, like say 4 years ago plus AI, would allow people to get to really strong and objective conclusions about many different things. But now that we don't exactly read that much or have, let's say, like our thinking time, either in the car, in the elevator, which are times where we're always on our phones, we are not necessarily processing the information we should be, or the information that would allow AI to help us get to strong and objective conclusions.
Okay. So yeah, you're saying look, I mean, we have this technology in front of us that, provides us with an awesome opportunity, or it could, right? But what do people spend their time doing? Pull out your phones right now. How much time do you spend on your phone per day? And what do you do with that phone?
I turn off.
Are you doing research? Are you trying to figure out more about the world through careful, diligent analysis and study? Or are you watching cat videos like I am?
5.5 hours.
5.5 hours. And what do you spend that time doing? Like watching sports highlights, scrolling Instagram. This is what people use their phones for, right?
I haven't been on my phone all morning.
So if this is how we're using these technologies, if we become sucked into, lives of entertainment and consumption, rather than lives of study and careful reflection and doing the things that are actually healthy and good for us, like going to bed at a reasonable time, right? Limiting our information consumption, actually reading books instead of just watching videos. If that is what we're doing, how much hope can we have that we're going to be able to turn this ship around? Do you think the average person is going to significantly change their consumption patterns? This is a serious issue, right? It's not just that, let's say it's 3 things. Thing number 1, What do people upload and share onto the internet? Is it educational, enlightening stuff? The AI calls it useless crap. Cat videos, celebrity gossip, rumors, slander, right? Unfounded stories. So we're filling up the internet with all this crap. Point number one. Point number two. What do we use the internet for? Well, swallowing all that useless crap. And then point number three. The very way these platforms are designed are such as to increase your engagement. These algorithms are personalized for your consumption. The feed that I get is not the same feed that you get. The feed is responsive. Your feed is responsive to your consumption patterns, how much you hover on a particular video or image over another, and it tailors what you see to keep you on the platform. These are how these things have been designed. So, if the information you're seeing is personalized to what's going to keep you interested, and the information I'm seeing is personalized as to what's going to keep me interested, and it's that way for everybody in this country, it's no wonder we can't agree on what is happening in the world. We're not seeing the same stuff. This is a problem, right?
Have you heard of like the dead internet theory?
Yes.
Where it's like,
Do you want to explain it to the class?
it's basically like where I was saying like your whatever you're on social media wise, like personal entity, whether it's YouTube or TikTok. They say like half of the interactions that you see, the likes or the comments are all like fake. So like a computer made majority of those likes or
Like bot accounts and stuff, right?
the views aren't that high, it's like half that or whatever it is. And I don't know if I believe it, but like it is interesting because it's like it can influence how you think of something. If you see like a video with a lot of likes, you're obviously going to pay more attention to it. And comments.
And as these
Like 5 views and likes on like social media, which is kind of adds to that theory. Like, are they real?
as these technologies continue to develop and as more information comes out that things like streamers will pay people for bots to tune into their stream and leave comments and things, you might start to ask, who are we actually even interacting with on this thing called the internet? Is it even a real person? Was this story actually created or shared by a real person? It's a scary thought, right? Presumably, those numbers of fake accounts and bot comments are only going to increase as time goes on. So, what are we going to do? What can we do? Are we just doomed to continue further into resentment and ideological possession and polarization and hatred and conflict until we blow ourselves up?
I feel like kind of, because either way, from now on, like AI, even if like it tries to get limited or whatever, it's gonna become like a black market item. Like some people are gonna get it. It's gonna be like a weapon. So some people are gonna use it to their advantage no matter what. You just gotta try to make it the best you can to limit it.
What do you mean by that? Doing the best we can.
You gotta try to just make it safe.
Well, let's say you think, okay, I see the point of the video. I see that this is a problem. There are things that I could do to change my personal life, to prevent myself from falling into untruth and, becoming possessed and polarized. Maybe there are things we could do individually in our own lives. Yes, no, maybe so. Fred?
I agree with that because information is always a property, not
Mm-hmm.
And it is our responsibility and our due diligence problem to how we utilize it. So, yeah, I agree.
Okay, so you would say, well, look, maybe, there's nothing we can do about the problem, because it's so massive and so complicated, but it's our individual responsibility to not contribute to it, to use these technologies wisely.
Yeah, and it's like people have different views. It's just that there are so many institutions, cannot easily say that anything is inherently right or wrong.
Okay. So do you think we just might be, I don't know, doomed to keep going down this path?
Not necessarily, because I think I mean, there are a lot of conflicts on the internet space, but I think it is very unlikely that those kind of conflicts becomes turn into severe physical conflicts.
Okay.
It is like there are like words like keyboard warriors and stuff, and people don't really like cause any like big problems and don't tend to cause big problems.
Okay.
They just flex out on the social media and stuff.
Yeah, maybe you might just disagree that we are incredibly polarized and this is a really big issue. Maybe you'll just say it's a small issue, but it's not like, we're fighting or killing each other over this stuff.
Yeah, and since the reason we fall into energy is our emotional security, and the physical direct conflict issue is that against that security.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe you just deny that, this is actually, a really serious issue. It's not leading to too much bad stuff. Emma.
I'm going to kind of counteract that. I do think that we have become very polarized and we surround ourselves with like-minded people and we're not willing to have a discussion that can get uncomfortable, and I think that politics, even like within like a family or friend setting, is very like, it's too polarized, and I think that people are quick to drop people because of their political views. And I think that even though we might not say, oh, I killed them for their views, I think that we do harm people because of their views.
Okay. So you think this is a serious issue?
Yeah.
You think it's going to get worse?
Yes.
We'll become more polarized?
Yeah, because people go down spirals when they see it on the internet.
Okay. Okay. I'm a little worried about that too. Yeah.
We are, like, we kind of are, like, already, like, hurting ourselves with AI, like, humans hurting humans.
How so?
So, AI doesn't only have the feature of research. It creates, it imitates voices, it creates new images. So, like, there's a lot of people already getting blackmailed, for example, with, like, pictures of images that were generated by AI.
Sure. Deep fake stuff?
Right, and it's like, I feel like those sort of resources, they can be useful. For an example, an architect, he can generate an image of how the house may turn out. But I don't think we should all have access to the same resources. Like, I think some resources should be saved for professional use only, not to like generate images of people.
Okay.
People, like the whole voice replicating thing, I think that should just not happen.
So you're saying something like, okay, well, one thing we might be able to do is limit people's use of these technologies or access to these technologies. Because the average person will use them wisely and meanly? Something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Ava.
Back to the polarization thing. I have a friend who said, I can't be friends with people who don't want to be my political beliefs. And political views, but they've been married for like 50-something years.
Mm.
They didn't let that get in the way of who they are. Because I don't think your political beliefs necessarily define you as a person. I think it's just what you want out of society, not as a person.
Okay.
But I agree. I think polarization is going to continue, unfortunately, just because of the way technology is, because it feeds you information that is directed towards your ideas or whatever.
Mm-hmm. That validates your views,
Yeah.
you know. Okay, so if the polarization is going to continue, you might think, what kind of problems might that lead to? Or what kind of problems do you think it will lead to? Violent conflict? Civil war? Are those potential threats on the horizon if nothing is done here? Half the country thinks the election was stolen. The other thought the election before that was stolen. We don't even trust our own political system anymore. Yeah.
Have you seen the company called UV Tech?
No.
It's a Chinese AI company that generates like personalized AI humanoids to be your partner.
There we go. Robot partners, right?
They launched their first product it's the humanoid top of like their first version of their products last weekend. They sold over 15,000.
There's a market for that, huh?
Yeah.
People who will pay, for a synthetic companion, right?
This is a more let's say, extreme example of I think the society we live in now, but I think as a consequence of AI or social media, and not only not them together specifically, because I think social media without AI and vice versa, they would have different impacts in society, but with social media, I feel like we're currently living in a, let's say, lonely-ish era, and I think different industries are exploring that very very much intent and effort, because we can see that in even some student examples. If you look at nowadays streamers and celebrities, the most famous streamers I think in the US is called Kai Cenat, right? What he does is he goes to a house and invites a bunch of friends, and he records his life hanging out with his friends. I feel like the reason he's so famous is that a bunch of people are loners at this point. They don't have many friends, right? So they like to see that materialize into their screens, or someone else doing it for them since they can't do it, or they were conditioned not to do it somehow. That's an example. The UV Tech, the AR partner is another example. And I feel like companies are exploring that in many different ways. They're tackling the loners and this phenomenon caused by social media. And that's why communities, the community as a product is so strong nowadays too, right? Bunch of companies or famous people selling community services, join my community to do this. So even entrepreneur communities.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's been explored in many different industries, and it's a reflection of AI plus social media.
Experts have been saying for a while that the technologies that we have and are using are, they're preying on the reward systems in our brain to make us addicted to using them, to keep us using them. If this is true, if most people have been sucked into these lives of consumption and entertainment, it does seem like there are people who are taking advantage of that, right? Like building robots for those lonely people who, because they can spend time on the computer all day, they don't need to go out in the world anymore. They could order anything online and have it delivered right to them, right? Why would they need to seek out human companionship? Thus, you might think, in the kind of society that we have now, we are not only more polarized than ever, but we're more atomized. Really, how many strong relationships in your life do you have? Do you know your neighbors? Do you know their histories? Are you friends with the people across the street from you? We used to live in communities in which everybody knew everybody. We don't live in communities like that anymore. Is that bad? Is that scary? It seems like people keep to themselves now, right? Maybe they have a few good friends, but you might think people have become more distrustful of each other, less connected to them. Social media offers us the promise of being more connected to everybody more than ever before. Well, has it actually led to more connection? Or are people now more alone than ever before? You might think that's a worry. That's part of this trajectory we're going down. I don't have the answer, folks. What are the odds we're going to be able to get everybody on the same page to change their individual lives and consumption habits? And again, it would be scary to create something like an AI to do this for us. Not sure I would trust any government or corporation to sift through all this stuff for us and tell us what's true. So hopefully all of this has impressed upon you that classes like this are useful. Maybe the only thing we can do is to become better critical thinkers ourselves, to be more selective about the information we consume, to actually do our research, to think before we speak. I don't know. I don't know what is going to happen. I don't think anybody does. We're living in an unprecedented time in human history where we have developed technologies that are revolutionizing life as we know it. Any final comments, concerns, considerations? Anything you want to get on the table? Okay, well now you know one of the problems facing us, which I think is a big one.